Hello, everybody, and welcome into my latest live broadcast. It's Friday, the 17th of November, 2023, TGIF. It's amazing to me that since I did not do a show Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, this equipment was off. When I turned it on today, there was an OBS update. There was an NVIDIA GPU driver update. There were, hold on, I'm missing one. Windows updates. Wait, really? In 3 days? Windows updates, OBS update, NVIDIA driver update. So I'm glad I got it fired up an hour before the show so that I could have time to get those things installed and rebooted and reconnected. And then with the new OBS, I had to reconnect back to YouTube, which was a multi-factor process in order to keep security up and keep the bad guys out, which is worth it. It's worth the pain in the butt, because I don't want to have a Linus Tech Tips moment here, you know? So in the meantime, welcome in everybody. And today I've got something very unique. The mini PCs that we've shown here have been a very interesting fad. We've seen the introduction of the Intel NUC to the demise of the Intel NUC, as Intel is stepping away and abandoning that project as they abandon thousands of other projects, RAM bus, RAM, and Optane memory, et cetera, et cetera. So nothing new there. However, don't despair. Mini PCs will continue to be developed through other companies. And one of those other companies leading the way, not just, they aren't copying others. Others copy them, and that's Minisforum. And we're so happy to have a professional relationship with them. No money exchanges hands, but they do send us product in exchange for a review. That's the deal. They do not in any way, shape, or form tell me what to say or how to say it or what not to say. So I am free to be honest and give you my opinion as a professional working technician in this industry over 30 years and tell you what I think. Now, what's been happening is we've been seeing a lot of similarities between many PC manufacturers, lesser known ones, where it's another little box. They all kind of look alike. They kind of all offer the same thing. And it gets a little boring for me to just kind of do the same review with a different processor. It's so what I really look forward to is looking at something unique, something different. And those mini PCs were different for a while, and then they all started to kind of be the same. And so Minisforum continues to introduce innovative products that blaze the path for, I'm sure, lesser known brands to copy. So you may have already seen this particular model reviewed. I held off on the review because I was waiting for Minisforum to send me this keyboard. Minisforum is now making computer peripherals. And I was also waiting on a stencil that goes inside of here. And I can't wait to show all of this to you and to evaluate it together. As you can see, this is already out of box. I've already put a stand on it. And I've already updated it, and it's ready for us to review. I've not gone too far in depth with it other than putting updates on it and putting my stencil on. The keyboard is still shrink wrapped. This only just arrived Thursday, Wednesday? I think Wednesday. So it's fresh from the mail. I haven't even had a chance to really do any research about it. So we're going to look at it together and see what Minisforum is offering that's different from a regular keyboard. Because if Minisforum is making it, it's probably doing something or offering something different than the big keyboard manufacturers such as Logitech or I don't know, other keyboard manufacturing options. And again, when you look at one keyboard, they all kind of look alike. You get a few different designs, and then after that, they're all kind of the same. So I'm assuming there must be something Minisforum has offered different here. And we'll take a look at what that is. Now, I also wanted to mention that there are some sales going on. You know, next week is when we start our holiday season. So Wednesday may be an early day, or perhaps the end of the week for a lot of people who will then get Thursday, Thanksgiving off from work. Many people will get the following Friday off for work, and then that leaves us Saturday and Sunday. So for many of us here in the USA, we'll have a 4-day weekend. That also means this time next week will be Black Friday. That's when all the big sales go on, followed by Cyber Monday. That'll be the Friday after, the Monday after Thanksgiving, where then the online sales occur. But I'm already seeing deals starting up right now. And just to mention a few that I've had my eye on over at Amazon, I've had my eye on these products and the prices have come down, and I'll just share them with you here real quick. And also know that links for everything are in the video notes below the video. And Minisforum has the UM780 on sale as well with a coupon code. And those notes and links, coupon code, that's all in the video notes below today's video. Also, before I forget, a shout out and a thank you to Paul O'Brien for the Amazon gift card and super chat. And of course, our very generous and amazing community member, Peter Laycock. We call him Buster. Buster sent a very generous PayPal contribution just prior to the show starting and says hello to everybody. And thank you again to Buster, who makes so many of these videos possible just by himself. I cannot express in words how appreciative and how lucky we are to have him as part of our community and to call him a friend. Now, with these specials that are going on right now today is Friday, November 17th. I don't know how long these specials are going to go on for or if the products are going to sell out. So if you're on the fence about it, this is Amazon with 30-day returns. I'd suggest you, if you're on the fence, lean towards yes and know you've got 30 days to change your mind. Now, let me bring up the first item here, which is, I will find it. The Samsung 990 Pro, which I mentioned a few days ago, that is still on sale. This is the 4 terabyte. This is the only 4 terabyte NVMe drive Samsung has ever made. It just came out. And when it came out, they wanted $399 for it. Then they wanted $349. Then they wanted $299. Then they wanted $279. I thought $279 was a fair price. And now $249. So that's a very good price for a Samsung. This is the Pro version of the drive. Read speeds up to 7,450 megabytes per second. Next up is the Western Digital Black 4 terabyte. This is my go-to because the Samsung 990 4 terabyte did not exist. This is what I've been using in a lot of builds where I want super fast capacity. This is what we put in the NZXT computer with the 13500 we built for Beth. And we paid more than this for it. So $229. It's very comparable to the Samsung. Same warranty, great company behind it. And then for external storage, you know, I've got one of these Samsung SanDisk, which is also owned by Western Digital. This is the 4 terabyte Extreme Pro. This is normally like $299, sometimes a little over $300. At $239.99, that's the cheapest I've seen it. However, please do know that the reason that this says updated firmware is because Western Digital, who owns SanDisk, has had an issue with these specific drives failing prematurely. And they issued a firmware update to address it. However, it's, from what I've seen online, it's not a firmware update issue. It can't be fixed from a firmware update issue. And not necessarily every unit's going to be affected. But they're now claiming that they've updated the firmware and they've addressed the issue inside of it. Have they? I don't know. Is that why it's on sale? This is the drive that I keep testing, trying to get up to 2,000 megabytes a second through the USB port. And so far, I've only had 2 computers that are compatible. And I have not personally had any trouble with mine. So take that for what it's worth. If it does have a problem, Western Digital honors the warranty, which on this is how long? Don't know. I don't know how long the warranty is on this. Yeah, fast and dependable. That's marketing speak for not. Actually, it's fast. Is it dependable? Again, in my experience, it's been dependable for me, but I very rarely use it. So, perhaps I'll keep you up to date if I ever experience a failure with it. And the warranty is what? I'm not exactly sure what the warranty is on this. But effectively, this is just a 4 terabyte NVMe drive in an enclosure. My understanding is if you crack this open, you're going to see a Western Digital 4 terabyte NVMe drive in there. They're not easy to crack open. They're pretty well glued shut. But anyway, it's a good price. And if it does fail on you, you have warranty. You know Western Digital will cover the warranty. You may not be able to get your data back, so always make sure you have backups of important data. If this is your backup drive, then the data should still be on another drive as well, because backup drives fail. Minisforum has the UM790 Pro on sale. You see here it's at $389 for the bare bones version. This is an AMD Ryzen 5 7640, but there's a $30 off coupon, which brings that price down to $359. $359. Now, granted, you've got to provide your own storage and RAM, and I just showed you a great deal on some amazingly fast and capacious storage. And we reviewed this if you want to go back and watch that review. This is the lowest price I've seen it at. So, oh, look up here. Coupon code is right in front of my face. So for those of you who want to take advantage of these early specials prior to the rush on the Black Friday specials that often will sell out very quickly, this is no rush. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to worry about getting in before they sell out. You've got a week. Well, you've got 5 days. Let's see. Going on to what we're talking about today. Is this new, it's the UM780XTX. And this logo that you see here on the front is a stencil on the inside that you can change out. And it's got a big RGB light behind it that shines through it. Now, the folks over at Minisforum made a custom stencil for me with my logo, which is really cool. Although I don't know how you can get one made. I'm not exactly sure yet. They have it available in 2 colors, obsidian black and champagne. I'm not quite sure what this champagne color is, but apparently the keyboard they sent me is in this color as well. So we'll see that here momentarily. And this computer promises to be quite powerful. And well, I'm just going to read to you what Minisforum says. The UM780XTX is the king of mini PCs with the most powerful performance and ports. It's equipped with an AMD Ryzen 7 7840HS processor and AMD Radeon 780M to unleash up to 70 watts of performance. You can play AAA games. It supports the Oculeak interface, which allows external graphics cards to be connected at a very high rate of data speed. It's got 4 USB Type A's, 2 USB 4 Type C's. It's got dual RJ45 network, Ethernet ports. And the RGB lights can be turned off. And the pattern etching, what I'm calling the template sheet, can be removed. Yeah, you could just have a big square light there. And this does have a graphical BIOS. It's not the text BIOSes we're accustomed to seeing on most mini PCs. I want to remind people that when you visit the Minisforum website, please pay attention that they have these tabs here. A lot of people will just scroll straight down and not realize that they've missed the specifications tab and the frequently asked questions. Let's take a look at these specs. The AMD Radeon 780M is nothing to shake a stick at. It's for integrated graphics. It's quite impressive, maybe the most impressive we've seen so far. You get 2 M.2 slots, and there's a reason why you get 2. They're both Gen 4, but one of those M.2 slots can be used for your Oculink port, and we'll get into that here in a moment. It's got Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5 built in. We've got 2 HDMI ports. They're version 2.1. No, I'm sorry, 1. I'm reading this wrong. We've got an HDMI port, we've got a display port, and then we have USB 4. We have 2 of those, which can each be used as a video output. So you can have 4 monitors hooked up to this simultaneously. Your audio can go out through HDMI or DisplayPort or through an audio jack. The built-in Ethernet is 2.5 gig. The Oculink port is in the box with the computer. It's not pre-installed. Once again, this is just a duplication of the HDMI, DisplayPort, audio jack. Looks like a dynamic microphone and then the clear CMOS button. Windows 11 Home. From this point forward, from what I've been told by Minisforum, all Minisforum PCs will be coming with Windows 11 Home. They did not tell me why. I did not ask why. I do not care. As I mentioned to you, we see a lot of people online that are fixated, just completely obsessed with information that is not relevant or practical to how they use the computer or the benefits of having the computer. It drives me absolutely up a wall. We see people that need their computer to run cooler temperature-wise, even though it's running within normal range of where it's supposed to be. Some people, they get it in their head that they want that number to be lower, and they will spend untold hours research and buy unnecessary equipment, potentially damaging their perfectly working computer, just so when they run a piece of software to read the temperatures, they see a lower number, and then they can breathe easy. We don't do that in the corporate world. You would get fired if you wasted corporate time and money like that. So this is strictly a hobbyist activity that it does not satisfy any practical need at all, but an emotional concern that's under somebody's skin for some reason. They're just obsessed with the heat. Leave it alone. And the same can be said for Windows Professional. There was a time when Windows, the professional version of Windows, offered you more abilities that a home user could really benefit from. Not really anymore. So, you know, a lot of the things that you can do with the professional version, you won't do. Whether that's BitLocker, virtual machines, logging into a domain server is primarily the main reason for Windows Professional. All the other things, which isn't much, that Windows Professional offers, you can get through third-party software. In other words, I don't have to use Microsoft's virtual machine. I can download software for virtual machines. I can download software for remote access, and I can download software for encryption. I don't need Microsoft's generic stuff, because let's face it, all that stuff Microsoft offers is very, very basic. If you really are somebody that wants to dig into it, you're not going to want to use that stuff anyway. It's just too basic. Now, it's not my money. It's not my waste of time. I'm not telling you you're not allowed to do it. I'm not telling you not to do it. What I am telling you is that there's a lot of people out there who will encourage you to waste your time and waste your money to do things that don't matter. So when Minisforum told me they're going to be on the Windows 11 Home version on all their mini PCs from this point forward, it won't make one iota of difference to 98% of the people who buy these mini PCs, probably. You know, most end users don't have any need for that. And if you do decide that you just have to have Pro, you are likely just wasting your time and money. Don't let me stop you. If you want to waste your time and money, they can be upgraded, okay? It's nothing money can't fix. But the benefit of the upgrade, the return on your investment, in most cases will be zero. Nothing will perform any better or any differently than it did before. So that's why I didn't really get into any discussion with Minisforum as to, you know, why this change was made, because when you're buying the operating systems in bulk as a system manufacturer, there's only a couple of dollars difference between Pro and Home. But that's their business decision. And just know moving forward to expect the home version to be what's pre-installed on the box. Now, if you buy a bare bones Minisforum computer, this is not relevant to you because bare bones means you have to provide your own storage, your own RAM, and your own operating system at your own cost. And that's why the machines are sold so much cheaper, because they don't have to spend all the money on those extra components and software. So if that's something that bothers you, take control of it. You're probably the same kind of person that thinks the included RAM and storage isn't good enough for you either. That's great. If you have the money to afford that attitude, that's wonderful. Now, for the rest of us, this computer, you know, this isn't a cheap computer. This is a very well-priced computer, but it's also very capable. So I'm going to bring it up to the camera here and showcase it close up for you with the stand on it. I even like how the stand is really unique here. It's in two pieces. You essentially put two screws in for this bracket here. It's Y-shaped or V-shaped bracket. And then two screws here onto the bottom flat place here, the foot. And then you just have air vents there on the top. And then the front of it is where your power button, your USB ports, your headphone jack, and your reset switch. Actually, no, that's I think this is the CMOS or system reset. And this one up here, I think, is the microphone. And then on the back, if we look at the back, there's our two USB Type A's, our DisplayPort video output, our USB 4 Type C. There is a little rubber cover right here where it says OcuLink, and there's nothing in there right now, hence the rubber cover. And that's for people that want to add external graphics cards or some other high performance, high I/O data performance connector here. This runs at like 64 gigabits per second, whereas USB, the best it does is like 40. So it's quite a bit faster. Below that is your HDMI video output. You've got your two LAN jacks, 2.5 gig, and then our barrel connector. Now on the front of this, and what makes this so unique, is the stencil. Now this top, or this lid, this is held on magnetically. And that is a big RGB light right there. And on the underside of the lid, you can see the stencil that you can take out and replace or leave out with my logo, which will shine through. And then if we want to get to any of the components inside of the computer for, let's say you buy the bare bones version of this and you want to add your own RAM and storage, there's 4 screws, one in each corner, and then you will lift this piece out. And at least we're not having to remove any rubber feet or anything to get to anything, which I appreciate. Now, the OcuLink connector is quite unique. I've never seen one before now. In fact, I never even heard of the technology. And that's in the box, along with the power brick and documentation and an HDMI cable and a VESA mount. Is it a VESA mount? Yeah, I think there's a VESA mount in here. Let's just verify. This is our power brick. It uses a Mickey Mouse type power cable, barrel style, and it goes into the PC. We have an HDMI cable, and of course the power cable itself, which depends on the country you live in, depends on which power cable you get. Yes, we have a VESA mount bracket. That's if you don't want to use the stand, but would rather mount the mini PC behind your monitor or against the wall or side of a desk. And then finally, you get this little box right here. And again, we're talking about things that I've never seen any other mini PC offer. Looking at some unique and thoughtful upgrades here that differentiate this mini PC from others. And that's this piece right here. You see, it looks kind of like an M.2 slot. So that you would give up your second M.2 slot for this if you wanted to use this. And that's just going to plug in and screw down like an M.2 drive would. This location of the the mounting screw is in the same place as a standard M.2 2280 drive, but it extends out a little further so it reaches the back of the case. And you get this plug right here, which looks kind of like an HDMI, and I don't know, it's a bit different. And that is called Oculink. And so if you were to get an Oculink dock, you could do all kinds of things. You could break this out into numerous USB ports. You could have a whole little dock of ports, or you could plug in a GPU dock that's Oculink enabled and get much, much better performance through your external GPU than through literally any other connector. This is optional because I think most people would probably opt to have a second storage drive. However, that's for each of you to decide on your own. Very clever. Now, I'm not going to go through the Oculink setup and how it works, because there's a couple other YouTube channels. ETA Prime comes to mind, that have done a very good job of showing how all that works. So if you're of the gaming mindset, you can follow this review up with the excellent review done over at ETA Prime. And then also there may be some other video review channels that cover the gaming part of things as well. So the included stencil, which is this right here, is in the box with the directions, and that's the Tiger. And you'll see there are these little cutout on this side here. You'll see the hole and the notch. That's how it aligns. And then there's a little double-sided sticky tape that holds this in place, that keeps it aligned and keeps it from moving. But it's not so strong that, you know, you can't take it off and change it out. It's just strong enough to hold it in place. And this is something you have to put in yourself if you want it. It's included in the box, but it is not installed in the mini PC. Okay, so let me just move this aside. And let's move this aside. And let's move this aside. And let me show you what it looks like. I'm going to plug the power cable in here. And we'll grab an HDMI cable, which I'll plug in right here. Give it internet access here, and my Mickey Mouse power cable. So this is says 120 watts. That's a pretty serious power supply here. And the power supply says Minisforum on it, so I do not have to get a label and stick it on there or grab my Sharpie, my silver Sharpie. They actually put Minisforum, their name, right on it. Oh, delightful. I wish every manufacturer that has these little power bricks would put their darn name on it. Doesn't do me any good to know the manufacturer of the power brick. You definitely don't want to put the wrong power brick into the wrong device. You could smoke the device. That's not a warranty issue, and I mean, it'll be done. So just because the plug fits on these barrel connectors doesn't mean you got the right voltage, the right amperage, or even the right polarity, meaning which side's positive and which side's negative. So with that, let me turn this on. Oh, I need a keyboard and a mouse. Do that real quick. And we'll get this keyboard out next, but I just want to demonstrate what this looks like when you turn it on. So power button, there's the logo all lit up. And it's cycling through some RGB colors right now by default. And again, that can be turned off in the BIOS if you don't like it. There's also, I thought there was another way to control the lighting. No, maybe not. So let me switch over now to the video output of this so we can take a look at boot time. So I'm going to go here, put myself in a corner. It already booted. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just hit the power button, which should cycle this off. You'll see how long it takes to shut down. I'm going to reach over and I'm going to turn it back on, and you guys can look at the the clock down below and see how many seconds this takes to boot to Windows 11. Now, Minisforum sent this with the RAM and storage that it has. I did not put some fast or expensive parts in this. This is stock, 100% stock from Minisforum as you can buy it. Let me take a quick look at a couple of things here. One is I want to verify if I have Windows 11 Home or Pro because I think that's a recent change. So let's see what we have. Go to System, and it says we have Windows 11 Home. So that is correct. We are not running 23H2 yet, which of course any new computer you're going to get throughout the year, the rest of this year, is not likely going to have 23H2. It's very important. You always go to Windows Update and grab the latest updates. The machine they sent us comes with 32 gigs of RAM, and it is the Ryzen 7 7840HS with the Radeon 780M graphics. Now, if I close this and go to the device manager, let's see who's making network adapters here. Network adapters, we have basically three, 2 LAN and 1 wireless LAN. And it looks like we've got a killer Wi-Fi adapter that Intel bought killer. And the other 2 LANs are both the same Realtek Gaming 2.5 gigabit Ethernet family controllers. And of course, this is Windows 11 compliant. As you look, we have a security devices section here, our TPM module. So that's your quick overview. This thing is whisper quiet. As you can see, I haven't put any of my utilities or Prime 95 or any of that sort of testing on there. This was just about prepping it. And in fact, I'm kind of curious if it's going to offer me 23H2 if I go to Windows Update and check. Wow, a lot of updates. So these were the updates that the streaming PC needed as well. So while those are doing their thing, let's go back full screen over here. And let's take a look at the chat room and see what your response is. What you guys think of this thing? I was impressed by how powerful it was, that it is an adequate gaming PC. A lot of the times when they promote these mini PCs for gaming, well, they have a very liberal definition of gaming when they do that. But this one, actually, you can really play AAA titles on as it is. Let me scroll. Well, you know what? I'll get my glasses and I'll look over here. I don't have to struggle so hard to read that distance. Davis Parsons renews membership, now a member for 18 months. He goes, 18 months, where has the time gone? Yeah, tell me about it. Thank you, Davis, for continuing your membership here. It means a lot to me. Planet Cryos with a $5 super chat says, hello, Carey and all. Thanks for the video you sent. I had no clue about Western Digital drives doing the thing that they do. Good thing I use other ones. This is about, we were talking about Western Digital's announced a new 20-something terabyte, 26 terabyte drive, something. And he's like, I just got the 22s, but they're enterprise drives only. They're not for the consumer market yet, but they're probably coming. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure I'd want to use Western Digital drives in a NAS. Those Western Digital Reds have had some issues, let's just say. And if you Google about it, you can find more about it. So when you combine that with the whole SanDisk thing I mentioned earlier, I've been more or less avoiding Western Digital, except that SN850X 4 terabyte drive. But even then, that's kind of an exception. Now that the Samsung 990 4TB exists, as soon as if they become the same price, and for the same money, do I choose the Western Digital or the Samsung? I'm going to choose the Samsung because of the ongoing issues Western Digital has had. And the way that they've dealt with them, they haven't been very transparent about it. And yeah, you can Google about the SanDisk issue as well. So otherwise, we'll be here for hours for me to explain it. What Western Digital has done and et cetera, et cetera. It's all been recorded online for posterity. You can go and check it at your convenience. And hello to all my friends in blue. A lot of familiar faces and names in there, I should say. It's joyful for me to see everybody saying hello to one another. I love the community we've established here. Channel Zero says, tomorrow I'm going to be attempting to rebuild a 6-year-old AMD computer, an Asus B350M and 16 gigs of 2400 megahertz RAM. Hey, enjoy it. Sounds like fun. Garfield Rupe renews his membership, now a member for 11 months, says, I've been a member of the community for 11 months. Yay me. Well, thank you, Garfield. Thank you for continuing your membership. Nick Caffrey with a 15 euro contribution says, hey, Carey, Mara, and chat, hope everyone is happy, well, or healing. Nice. Thank you. Thank you for supporting the channel. John Williams says, good afternoon. It's 45 degrees Fahrenheit here in Madison, Wisconsin. Yeah, that sounds a little chilly, but I would like that. We're here in Phoenix. We got a little bit of rain, just a trickle a bit of rain yesterday. We might still get some tomorrow. And then after that, we're back to a dry desert. And I saw that they were running the free practice of the Formula One race in Las Vegas, that everybody that lives in Vegas is like, this has been a nightmare with all the construction and all the road closures. And during the free practice, the one of the water valve covers, it's like a little manhole cover, came up against the bottom of 3 of the cars, I guess, hit it, and completely destroyed one of the cars. Luckily, nobody was hurt. But they're going to have to basically replace the car, and they're very expensive. So that Ferrari team was not happy with this new track in Las Vegas, which is just the street. They've closed down streets like they do in Monaco for the F1 cars, rather than having a dedicated track. And the streets are all prepped for this race where they're supposed to be. And they've had this issue with manhole covers popping up before, but it's been probably 40 years since it happened the last time. But somebody got seriously hurt last time. You'd think they'd know to watch for that. So not off to a good start. That race, by the way, because it's the Las Vegas Strip, right? You can't really interfere with it that much. They got business to conduct. Employees have to go to work. The race started at 1:30 in the morning. It ran for 8 minutes. And then this whole issue popped up. And cars were damaged. And then they sent everybody home. They said, sorry, you have to go. They literally kicked people out of the grandstands. And they got the issue resolved and then restarted the race, I think at 2:30 or 3:30 in the morning. And again, this is just a practice. So, but when you buy your tickets, some people may only be able to afford the free practice day, or one of the free practice days. And so if you're kicked out, that's already, nearing 2 in the morning. But people did come back. It's crazy. What a terrible, terrible way to start their very first race in Vegas. Well, the F1 did do a race in Vegas before, but it wasn't on streets or on a track. They took a parking lot and they just made a track out of a parking lot. which was, yeah, not an ideal track for challenging the drivers. But in any event, if you're into F1 or you're curious, be sure and check it out this weekend. It's pretty exciting to watch this stuff. And then speaking of that, Keanu Reeves has a documentary coming out about an F1 team. Braun? Anyway, I don't follow F1, you know, when it comes to like Lewis Hamilton or any of these other drivers. I just kind of know the names and get some glimpses here and there. But because this is happening in Vegas, I was kind of curious. And you know, how are they doing this when Vegas has business? You know, it's about casinos and gambling, and if you shut off access to the casino or you make it difficult for people to have to drive to figure out how to get to where they want to go, and then in doing so, traffic is all backed up, and it's been this way since they started construction. It's only gotten worse, but I'm just glad I'm not there right now. I'm not a fan of big crowds, and I'm sure the seats are much, much better from my television or my computer YouTube channel, you know, going on YouTube, than getting, you know, one brief little section of the track. Anyway, I just thought that was shocking. As long as they've been doing this F1 racing on city streets, that wasn't something they would have had, you know, been on the look for and would have prevented. Shocking. So if you're interested to see that footage, it's you can see it's significant damage from a little water valve cover. It's about yay big, but it's also about that thick. Anyway, got off track. Bill Knott says, greetings, Carey from Cincinnati. Hey, Bill, welcome in. Good to see you, my friend. Essential Working Too Hard says, Carey, that's an impressive little machine. I want it with Carey's logo. Well, good luck with that. Lou Greeny says, I want to see the keyboard. Darn it. Yeah, I think we need to open that now. And there's somebody clearly driving a residential speed. You guys hear that thing? Ron Barnish says he's been a member for 15 months. Right on, Ron. Thank you to all the members, and thank you to all my friends in blue, and thank you to all the viewers, especially those joining us in the chat room. It's always great to get interaction. The point of YouTube, from my perspective, is to interact with your audience. The point of television is to watch it. So I do hope if you're watching this video while it's live that you will pop into the chat room at least to say hello and let us know where you're watching from. In fact, those in there now, shout out where you're watching from. Ben Laird said he just got his 6-month membership. Thank you, Ben. Ben joins us from Scotland. Greg M said it is a minus 2 degrees Celsius here in Canada. What part of Canada? All of it? The entire country is the same temperature. Steve Mercure says, what does one of those F1 cars cost? A lot, a lot. You know what's worse? The amount of work they had to do to repair the car exceeded the amount of time that they're allowed in their pit. And they penalized them for it. They penalized the team for how long it took to fix the car that was caused by the track, right? The organization, the F1 organization, they're responsible for having the track ready. They're responsible for enforcing the rules. So when they go to interview, if you watch any of the interviews with the crew chief or the I don't know, like the captain of the team, I don't know what you call it. You can tell he doesn't want to be there, that he's there by obligation to do this interview. And his answers make it very clear how he feels. And You know, they force him to be there, but they can't force him what to say. And you can tell he's livid at the amount of money it's going to cost them. And on top of that, that they were penalized for the amount of time it took to get the car basically rebuilt. New engine, new what's called the monocoque, the area where the driver sits, that was busted. And was a third thing. Basically, you had to rebuild the whole car. But thankfully, nobody was hurt. $500,000? No, I think the cars are worth a lot more than. I think the cars are worth a lot more than 500,000. I mean, these are Ferraris, so you're probably looking about $1 million, I would guess, per car. I think. Mark Gain says, that's a pretty cool little PC, Carey. Also, check your PayPal. Mark watches us from Northern Ireland. Thank you, Mark. And yeah, let's take a look. And Alan Linda sends an Amazon gift card. He says, here's a little something for your Black Friday purchases with $7.77. Wow, a very generous $80 PayPal contribution from our friend Mark Gaines in Northern Ireland. Well, thank you so much, Mark. That's very generous of you. And I have some messages from friends who apparently don't know I'm live on Fridays. Let's see what else. Oh, I wasn't done with my glasses yet. Chris's Retro Tech Channel with a $2 super chat says, I have a mild case of COVID-19. Oh, that can't be fun. Well, keep yourself well hydrated and, you know, follow the advice that's pretty well known now about the best way to get through this as quickly as possible without giving it to anybody else. And we'll try and keep you distracted in the meantime. All right, let me keep looking through the chat. I have not made it all the way through the chat yet. Diesel Doctor said 54 degrees Fahrenheit in north central Missouri. Oh, we got our shouts out from people watching from Massachusetts, Connecticut, Minnesota, Vermont, Pennsylvania, Fresno, California, St. Lucia. Martin Postema says good evening from the Netherlands. Bradley says hello from Illinois. Roteba 2 says greetings from Missouri. LSF is in Cape Town, South Africa. D.A. Carpenter said he's watching from Three Rivers, Michigan, and Steve Chappelle watching from North Carolina. Steve Mercure joins us from Pottsville, Arkansas. Captain Blinsky from J-Town, Pennsylvania. Carlos Hernandez at Moreno Valley, California. Gerhard Huff says he's watching from Frankfurt, Germany, where the temperature is 6 degrees Celsius. Tim Teal says hello from Idaho. Larry Wood from Indiana. Gary McGraw from Fort Worth, Texas. Hypevision says good evening from Barbados. How cool is that? There aren't too many people that live on Barbados, so to even have one watching me is incredible. Les Stevenson says hello, and Starshine saying hello. Dom Long said he's watching from Pennsylvania. David Moore is in Poole, Dorset in the UK. Doman 2000 says greeting here from the Netherlands, where it is 11:45 in the evening. The cars, according to John Williams and Thomas Backenstow, run. Well, John Williams says 15.9 million, says Red Bull. Thomas Backenstow says 25 million. I guess my 1 million was optimistic. Bloviator joining us from Phoenix. Victor Val joining us from Managua, Nicaragua. Managua, Nicaragua. Did Marlena do the graphics for the RGB logo on this little PC? No, my sister did that logo years ago. Nobody did the logo specifically for the mini PC. I sent the logo that my sister made years ago to my contact at Minisforum, and they had the stencil made for me. Now, initially, I was concerned that the stencil was sideways because if you did not put the stand on this computer, then it would sit with the front facing you and the logo would be 90 degrees off. And I said, hey, I think you guys didn't rotate the logo correctly. And they said, put the stand on it and let me know if you feel the same way. So it's like, duh, okay. And yeah, that fixed the rotational issue. LSF says 12 to 15 million per F1 car. Ooh, wow. And I thought Teslas were expensive. Oystein joins us all the way from Norway. Good to see you, Oystein. Thanks for joining us today. Nick Poverman joining us from Belmar, New Jersey. And Dave E joins us and says, good afternoon. Welcome in, Dave. Raj D renews membership, now a member for 7 months. Raj says, I'm watching from Essex in the UK. I had a mini stroke 8 weeks ago. Recovery's going well. And my first week back to work. Well, that's scary stuff, but at least it was a mini stroke. Those can be, you sort of roll the dice when you have a stroke, and if you're not aware that you're likely to have a stroke, then a mini stroke is the best you can hope for, because then once the doctors are made aware of the blood clotting, they can give you blood thinners and such, and tell you what foods to avoid and things to reduce your risk. So it sounds like you're well on your way of healing, and getting back to work is a good sign, and follow the doctor's orders so that then if it happens again, it won't be a potentially, more serious issue. That's your warning shot over the bow that I think nature has given you there. So Marvin Jameson joins us. Always good to see our friend Marvin watching us here in Phoenix. Mark Gaines with another contribution, 10 pounds in Super Chat, says, Carey, I managed to replace my Dell laptop screen and I got a genuine from Dell. It was only 40 pounds. Also, check your PayPal. Yeah, so maybe Mark is watching a few minutes behind. But thank you again, Mark. You're very generous and appreciate you very much, and certainly appreciate your friendship as well. I'll look one more time. I don't think he sent it twice. But thank you again. These contributions are keeping me independent so I can continue to do honest reviews on products I'm genuinely interested in, and tell you honestly what I think about them without worrying about any consequences from either manufacturers or viewers who decide they want to shut me down. Viewers don't have the power to do that because there's nothing to boycott. You can't go after a sponsor to use that as leverage against me. And that's a wonderful superpower. It really takes the wind right out of those people who have nothing else better to do. Let's take a look at the keyboard. Let's keep this review moving along because we're just about an hour into today's broadcast. And I would like to get it done by 3. I like to keep these as close to 2 hours as possible. The 2 machines that we just built that I said were going into Corsair 200Rs, the customer wanted them in December. Customer wants them Monday. So on top of that, I ordered 2 other motherboards with 13500s that use the DDR4, and I haven't filmed any of those, and I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with them, but I'd have them on hand for any customers that needed a PC. Well, it turns out they'll take those off my hands if they wouldn't mind having a couple spares. So my weekend is cut out for me. I've got one machine is completely done. The other machine is just some cable management. And then I have to label it and box it up. And then those last two, hopefully won't take me too long. They're all, one of them's already prepped, and the prep on these only takes about, what, an hour? So it's getting it in the case and all the cable management. That's the thing I don't enjoy doing, but I do enjoy getting equipment out of here. My other customer who has the email problem, we continue to be told by GoDaddy there's nothing they can do, that it's in the hands of Microsoft. I reached out to Microsoft. They said, we don't know what you're talking about. So I've got a stopgap measure in place for the customer, but I wonder if this is an issue that this customer is going to have for many months. Nobody's lifted a finger to help this customer. They're delighted to have some email, but they sure would like their old email working again. If I pull their account away from GoDaddy and I take them over to 1&1 or Zoho or somebody else, they'll lose their entire email database, which we really don't want to do. I mean, if we knew this was coming, I could have bagged it up. But this was obviously unexpected. And so I've given them a temporary, what's intended to be a temporary email address. All the mail is being forwarded to the, all new incoming mail that's going to the address that doesn't work. What the part of it that doesn't work is they can't sign in. They can't sign in through Outlook. They can't sign in through the web interface. But anybody who sends email there, I can forward that safely. So any new messages that are coming in now, they're getting at the alternate email address that I created for them. Also hosted at GoDaddy because I'm an idiot. And my biggest fear is that I run out of patience and I pull the account away from GoDaddy. It's been there 15 years without any problems until now. And then put them over somewhere else. I will also pull all my accounts away from GoDaddy. Is going to lose all of my business and all of my customers' business. I don't think they really realize how much they're losing here, or they don't care because they're just going to file for bankruptcy anyway. The way things are looking, I wouldn't be surprised if something drastic happens to GoDaddy in the next 12 months, unless they do something to turn it around, even including selling it to somebody else. The GoDaddy's gone down the tubes, in my opinion, since Bob Parsons, person who created it, sold it off to an investment group. It's just not the same company anymore, nor does it have the same spirit or morale from the employees you speak to on the phone. That being said, that is an ongoing issue with the same client where it all started with me getting data off of their old NAS units and replacing the NAS with the QNAP NVMe NAS that I showed here. And I was in the middle of doing that when the email problem happened. So that's project of getting them off the cloud and onto their own local NAS. That has been postponed until this email is due, because the email is a bigger, more important problem. But one of the employees got a new computer and has no access to the cloud storage and asked me how to access it. I'm not the one who set it up. I don't know. So then I've got an email into the other technician that set all this up to say, what is the process for mapping their drive letters to this cloud service? How do they sign in? Where do they sign in? And I'm still waiting on a response. So I'm just I'm in this sort of limbo waiting for Microsoft. I'm waiting for the other tech to get back to me. The employee's like, I can't access my old emails anymore. I can't access the cloud on the new machine. And I said to the employee, I said, what was wrong with your old machine? Maybe it's easier and faster for me to just fix, because I wasn't involved when all these decisions were made. Maybe I can get your old machine up and running, which is already configured. And again, not as a permanent solution, but as something that can keep you running. This company is significantly hurt, and it's quite stressful. So that's going on as well. I'm going to have a busy weekend, so likely you won't see me this weekend as I try and get 4 machines out of here. And again, I'm delighted. Don't get me wrong. I want to get some room. I'm getting pushed out. There's just so many computers in here, including the HP Diagnostic, which I've not had time to get back to. And don't think I have any more builds scheduled for the rest of the year. That doesn't mean there isn't going to be any. I just don't have any scheduled. And I still have Serve the Home's old server where I've got it all up and running with a refurbished 3090 Founders Edition card that matches what was in there that was broken. And then I will likely put 4 NVMe drives in the ASUS add-on storage card and add that as well. Do the cable management and button it up. And Patrick over at Serve the Home invited me to go look at the new studio space he's got. But unfortunately, he was inviting me during a scheduled broadcast time. So hopefully, and then he was traveling. So hopefully when he gets back, and then somewhere with all the holidays, I'll be able to meet up with him because he's just right down the road from here. Let's take a look at this keyboard. This is the MKB i83 from Minisforum. And I want to tell you a little bit about this keyboard. We'll look at it together. First things first, let me see if our Windows updates are done on this thing. Yes, they are. Let's go ahead and start that. And while that's restarting, we'll go back over to camera 1. And then there's an article that I have linked to from Tech Power Up. And they did sort of an overview of this keyboard. And I think it's more or less just a press release from Minisforum. But this tells us all of the things that make this keyboard unique and why you might be interested in it. So let's take a look at this together. Minisforum is known for its expertise in mini PCs, is taking a significant step towards building a holistic desktop ecosystem. The introduction of the Minisforum MKB i83 keyboard marks the company's expansion into the world of peripherals, allowing users to experience a complete desktop environment. The Minisforum MKB i83 is a testament to premium quality, featuring an anodized aluminum body that not only provides a more elegant texture, but also ensures enduring performance. The keyboard is designed to cater to a diverse range of users who demand the best. The double-shot PBT keycaps on the Minisforum MKB i83 guarantee legibility and resistance against wear. Meticulously contoured, these keycaps promote a tactile and comfortable experience with every keystroke, making typing a pleasure. It is hot swap enabled. The Minisforum MKB i83 brings versatility to the forefront with its full hot swap capabilities. Users can effortlessly interchange various switches based on preference, ensuring a fresh tactile experience with every change. Featuring the renowned, I'm going to make this text bigger. Hold on. That's going to help me. Health MX Red switch is known for their silent and linear characteristics. The Minisforum MKB i83 provides a fluid typing experience. With a consistent force curve, these switches are perfect for those who spend significant time typing and require both speed and precision. It also seamlessly integrates with any setup because it has a multi-device connectivity option to choose from, including Bluetooth, both 3.0 and 5.0, 2.4 gig wireless via a USB receiver, or a wired Type-C USB. It can support up to 5 devices simultaneously, making multitasking a breeze. The keyboard embraces an ergonomic design that significantly reduces strain and fatigue during prolonged work sessions, enabling users to maintain optimal productivity throughout the day. Silent operation equipped with horizontal axes and the multi-layer structure infused with sound dampening foam. It minimizes noise while enhancing the tactile experience, ensuring consistent performance. It's got a 3,000 milliamp battery. It can last for an impressive 300 hours with the backlight off, making it ideal for on-the-go professionals. And for gamers, it's got the aesthetics with Radeon RGB lighting effects, offering 18 preset lighting patterns, ensuring an immersive ambiance for every gaming scenario. With full N-key rollover, precision is guaranteed during these intense gaming sessions. Now, for office users and professionals, it has an advanced sound dampening technology for a silent typing ambiance, essential for concentration. Crafted with robust anodized aluminum and top-tier PBT keycaps, this keyboard epitomizes durability for prolonged use. Its ergonomic design and the Kale, I'm not sure how to pronounce this company, red switches guarantee a tactile and comfortable gaming journey. It says it's the keyboard you've been waiting for, combining elegance, performance, and versatility, and caters to gamers, professionals, and anyone who demands excellence from their peripherals. Well, that all sounds good. So that's great that it has multiple ways to connect it. One of the things that I complained about with this keyboard is it's Bluetooth only. And you have to pair it, which pain in the butt. The regular 2.4 gigahertz, in my opinion, is much better. I don't have to worry about anybody hacking it. It's not like it's broadcasting out on a Bluetooth channel. And, well, let's just take a look at this keyboard. Maybe this is going to be my new favorite. I mean, all of that sounded great. Don't you agree? So again, this is supposed to be the color they describe as champagne. And since this is the first unboxing, I'm sure the batteries are not charged in it. So no 10 key on here. Those almost feel like membrane keys. But you can switch the keycaps out to your preference. We have some kind of a plug here. What's that for? It's magnetic. And I let go of it, it just pulls itself back in. Oh, so this is your 2.4 gigahertz receiver. And it just fits into a hole right here, so you don't lose it if you want to take this with you on the go. We've got a USB Type-C port in the back. And then you configure it via, there's a switch here to tell it if you want to connect via a USB cable or via wireless. And the wireless means either the 2.4 gig or Bluetooth. Apparently the battery is built in, so there's nothing to change there. Let me bring this up close to the camera so you guys can get a close-up look of it. Remember, this does light up, and you can turn the lighting off. I'm not quite sure what these holes are for here. They almost look like antenna holes. That's your dongle right there. Keep going this way. There's our USB Type-C. You want to plug it in to a computer or plug it in to charge the batteries. Then that's your switch to tell it if you want to go USB or flip it that way if you want to go Bluetooth or 2.4 gig. Pretty straightforward. Got a nice weight to it. And yeah, its frame is all metal. Of course, I've already had that. However, I like that it fits tradition here with location of keys, like the backspace key here, the delete key up here. I don't like it when they move that stuff around to different locations. The rest of what's in the box here is a USB Type-C to Type-A cable if you want to wire the keyboard up. And over here, what do we have? A key puller, keycap puller, and some grips for assisting with keycap removal. Okay. Obviously, once you pull the key off, then I think the other tool there is for lifting the switch out. Again, you can swap the switches to your preference. And then this is our documentation. Which I will bring up here real quick and let you guys take a look at it. There's not a whole lot to this. And it is a keyboard, so I wouldn't expect they were reinventing the wheel here. function key controls. And then on the back side, a little more information with regards to removing the keycaps and removing the switches. Some basic specifications and system requirements, and I guess there's a warning and FCC statement. And then, of course, after-sales service information. Reach them if you have any trouble, questions, problems, etc. I am delighted to see Minisforum reaching out into peripherals. Can't wait to see what else they have. See if I can... I guess when you flip the switch to Wi-Fi, that must activate the battery. Yeah. And then that brings up all of our RGB. And what we're looking at right now is the whatever charge the battery has currently, which I don't know. Now, personally, I would just take the dongle here rather than pair it on Bluetooth, which I despise, and plug it in to any of the USB ports here. You know what? Yeah, I still need to be able to use the mouse, so I don't want to unplug the other. Here we go. And let's switch over now, back over to our HDMI input. And let me go full screen over here on my side of things. Trying. There we go. Let's try Notepad. Ooh. Wow, I can make a lot of typos. So that sentence has every letter of the alphabet in it there. You know what? I mean, it's not as quiet as I had hoped. It's not, and it doesn't have as much click as I had hoped. But the good news is I can change that by changing the switches if I choose to do that. It is a solid keyboard. I can tell you that. It's not going to walk away from me. Sometimes very light, cheap, plasticky keyboards tend to drift as I type on them. I'm a heavy typer, so they can be pushed away from me as I type, or they can slide to the right or the left. This one, not only does it well weighted, it's also got rubber feet that are helping keep it stuck to the table so it's not sliding. So overall, I like it. I mean, I could do without the RGB, but we can turn that off. I think, let's see, let's go back over to camera 1 here momentarily. I think, and I know it said it in the directions, but let me just take a look. I have a little light bulb here, so maybe function light bulb. Yeah, that turned it off. Interesting. And then function right and left usually changes the patterns. And then function up and down usually affects the brightness. That does seem to be the case here. Looks like there are 3 levels of brightness. The left and right arrows seem to be adjusting the speed with which the RGB is moving. And then there's a function key for using this on a Mac versus using it on a Windows-based PC. Function insert says color, and now it's 1 color. Let me turn these lights off. We might be able to see it better. So function, insert. And if we want to slow that down, we go to the left or to the right. Should slow that down. Thought, or is it the other way? That's much slower. Brightness, we can bring the brightness up or down. Once again, going back to insert, we go back to different colors. And let me get back to that. There should be a way to adjust the pattern. So I'm just looking at the logos below the buttons. Those are your function key options here. Looks like function delete turns the RGB off altogether. And now we can start seeing different patterns. So just 3 choices. 1, 2. Oh, wow. It's like just any static color without any motion. Off altogether. Crazy. I'm not, it's just cycling through colors there. And then I think we finally made it back around. That one's my favorite. I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty cool. And it says function backspace will show our battery strength. How does it do that? Oh, you hold it down. And the green bar, if it goes all the way across, would be fully charged. That's a clever idea. Who needs instructions? Pretty neat. Here, you want to give it a go? All right, let's bring the lights back up. And let's take a look at our current Windows update status to see if it's going to offer us that 23H2 offering yet. Back over there. Over to full screen on my side here. So let's close that window. Back over to settings, update. Check for updates. The machine is absolutely whisper quiet. Zero available of optionals. So again, you can force the 23H2 by doing a full install, or just wait. Probably within a day or two, it's just going to offer it to me through Windows Update, and it will automatically download and install on its own regardless. There's really no big deal about this particular update. I don't know why it keeps showing me these different security updates there. It shows 4. Seems like somebody wants a reboot. Just keep showing the same one over. So we're all caught up, with the exception of that 23H2, which again, just kind of resets the support clock more than anything else. The big Moment 4 update, which came a month earlier, that's really where a lot of the features and such were added, which is normally what's added with a, I'm just rebooting it here, which is normally what's added in a build update. So Microsoft did it differently this time. All right, let's take a look at what you guys are saying in the chat room here. Keyboard is $100, says Douglas Burchell. That's not bad. Jason Willis said it took him 6 weeks of escalation to get a Microsoft 365 tech to fix my account. It was a small issue. Yeah, well, if it happens in 6 weeks, look, if it happens at all, I'll be happy at this point with regards to that customer with the issue. I am frustrated. Every time I call, I just get the same message over and over and over again. You have to wait, you have to wait, you have to wait. Wait how long? We can't say. I'm just looking through your chat comments. In fact, I guess we can go back to camera one while I'm doing this so you guys don't wonder why I'm silent. Just take a look here. Your reactions to the keyboard. See Mike Dane Jr. is joining us. Mats Olaf said, Carey, someone from the US has won a lot of money and wants to send me $2 million. How should I do this? Is this normal? That's a scam all day long. I think you know that. Yeah. That Nigerian prince has got some money coming my way. So Tesla will soon be mine. I want to show you the BIOS on this thing. That's what I wanted to do. Let's go back over to the HDMI input here. And I got to go full screen again for me. You guys watching at home, you guys get it full screen. I only get a small preview window. Unless I make it full screen, which is what I've just done. And then what we're going to do here is we'll go back to settings and we'll go back to update. We're going to go to advanced options. We're going to go to recovery and we're going to go to advanced startup. We'll click restart now, which doesn't actually restart the computer, which is confusing. It's going to bring up a menu for how we want to restart. Give that just a second. Oh, it made a liar out of me. It actually did restart, but it's restarting into a menu. How weird is that? I was not expecting that. So it didn't lie. It actually did restart. So the please wait means it's setting the menu up, I guess. So this is the menu I was talking about. We're going to go to troubleshoot. We're going to go to advanced options. And we're going to go to the UEFI firmware settings. So when I hit restart, it's going to take me right into the BIOS without me having to press any keys. And this BIOS is very different from what we're accustomed to seeing on these mini PCs. And we can control the RGB in here as well, which apparently everything is in Chinese. We should have a way to change this. There it is. That in English. And we can see how things are set up. We can go under advanced. And one of the things you're going to notice is, see if we got a CPU configuration. No, that's not what I back. It's likely not in the security setting. Is it? No. Here's our boot options. Let's go back. I guess it's not in. This is main. BIOS version, processor type, processor speed, system date, system time. I guess what I want is in the advanced section here. I'm just going to have to look through each of these to figure it out. NVMe RAID mode. Oh, I did not know this will support an NVMe RAID if we want to use both of those M.2 slots. And the resize bar support. Cool. Let's see, ACPI up on LAN. Turn that. Let's go to ACP. That's where I just was. Hardware monitor. There's our CPU tab and fan speed. And then there's a system fan as well. So it's keeping an eye on those for us. Network stack configuration, that's all good. Power config. So the power limit right now is set to balance mode. If we want a little bit more power, we can put it in performance mode. Then it'll go to the full 70 watt power consumption. But out of the box, it's going to be in balanced mode. Then let's see, CBS. See anything here that would control our RGB. That's it. So let's go to save and exit. There's your load optimized defaults, your boot override if you wanted to temporarily boot to a flash drive or something. Where the heck? Hide RGB. So I know they're somewhere. Would have thought it would be under advanced. I think it would be under onboard devices. But I would be wrong. I don't know what this CBS is. Auto there. Graphics config, audio config. Power loss, I want it to stay off. Just power. Our thermal maximum here. Shift control. Okay, well, save and exit. Let's restart it. Sometimes these mini PCs have a button for controlling the RGB. I don't see one on here. So if there's no button, it's usually controlled through the BIOS and or through software included in the Windows install if you didn't order a bare bones one. Otherwise, you'd have to download the software. And let's see if that software is in here. Let's take a look at apps. Because this is AMD, you always want to make sure you have the latest version of the Adrenaline software, which I believe I already did. You can double check that while we're in here. Oh, there is a new version. We're going to go ahead and grab that. Okay, well, that's doing that. Let me go back to the start menu, back under apps. I don't see any utility called Minisforum here. I think think Minisforum has a video about this. So while that's downloading, there's not a whole lot to see there anyway. Go back over to camera 1. Let me bring up YouTube. Type in Minisforum. So Minisforum has their own YouTube page, and if you're interested in their products, one of the earliest places you'll get a view of what's coming out or what just got released is directly from them, from them directly. So let me look here in my list, and I'm sure we see a YouTube channel called Minisforum. There it is. And on this, so they've got many of their products, they have videos, so you got to find the right product. And I am a little concerned that with the Oculink port and the RGB, that what may be lost through bringing up attention to that is the sheer performance of the machine itself, which is, it's incredibly fast machine, very responsive. I'm just trying to find, so Minisforum has a video here. They do a great job with their, they have some CGI and stuff that showcases like the machine being blown apart to see how everything's put together. And they do an amazing job with how they're tackling cooling on their mini PCs, which is different from any other mini PC manufacturer. They're often using liquid metal, and it has to be applied in a very specific way or it won't benefit you, or it won't benefit you very long. So here is a video from Minisforum that says, update on the UM780XTX about turning off the RGB lights. Let's forward. It's going into the BIOS. I don't recall our BIOS looking like. Into setup, he's under main. Oh, they didn't use any screen capturing, so that's not ideal. He's into advanced. It says RGB LED under advanced. How did he get there? What section was that? Ah, come on now. Oh, it was where I thought it was, right? When I didn't see an RGB LED setting in my. So let me look again. Let's go back over to the HDMI input. Oh, that's still downloading. Wait for that to finish. In the meantime, we'll take a look again in the chat room. We're about an hour and a half into today's video. I will try and wrap this up around the 2-hour range. So if there's anything on your mind that you want to talk to me about, this would be a great time to bring it up. Was that a UEFI BIOS? Yes. Yes, it was. George wants to know, did Microsoft do something to 22H3 as I cannot delete apps that I do not use? Some of the apps are a part of Windows that cannot be removed, but that's always been the case with every version of Windows ever out. You can't necessarily remove some of the Xbox stuff, and we've discussed that here before. Which app are you wanting to remove, and why is it such a big deal to you? Most of these apps are very, very tiny. They're not really taking up any room. But do know that you cannot remove all apps. The app may have a connected piece to it that Windows requires. And so Microsoft will not allow you to delete it. So even though you don't use the app for that purpose, it's being used by the Windows platform. And if you were to forcibly remove it, it could, in theory, break your Windows install or break your Windows install in the future when you don't realize the reason why you're having a computer problem is because of what you did months earlier. So my strongest advice to you is don't stubbornly try to remove things that do not have uninstalls. There are videos that can show you how to forcibly remove. However, there may be consequences down the line that you will have problems nobody else has, and you're going to be very frustrated. This is what I talk about when someone gets an idea in their head that has nothing to do with any practicality. It has nothing to do with performance or stability or security. It's just this concept of what I want. I want a certain temperature. I want a certain color RGB. I want home versus pro for no other reason than that's what I want. And so if you want to remove apps you're not using, if you follow that through and forcibly remove them, your consequences are yours. And it's going to be very hard to know, that the problem you have, which could be months or even years from now, is a consequence of what you did by forcing that app out. So I would learn to just ignore it, leave it alone. It's not taking up much room. Unless you're trying to remove an app that should be uninstallable. That's why I'm asking which app it is. Ellen wants to know, has the PC been fixed yet? The HP PC, no, as I mentioned earlier, I've been very busy, and we will get to that as time permits. I'm still waiting for a suggestion regarding a certain area that nobody's talked about on the PC. So that also affords us more time to let people who are seeing the video for the first time tomorrow or next week to participate in it. It's all you gotta do is look at the video views. And if you see those video views growing over the certain period of time you want to wait, the majority of those are people watching that video for the very first time. So while I appreciate those of you who are very loyal to the channel, who stay up to date on all my content, the vast majority of people don't. And in fact, the vast majority of viewers are first-time viewers. Month after month, I get more viewers from first-time viewers than from regular viewers. And how many of those first-time viewers become regular viewers, I don't know, but I constantly get new viewers. Every single month, that number remains about this, percentage remains about the same. And we certainly want to give them an opportunity as they're just being made aware of it. And besides, I have all these other projects going on right now, and that's not important. And nobody has yet recommended what I'm waiting for somebody to recommend. So you haven't missed anything in that regard, Alan. Peter contributes €1. Thank you, Peter. He's also a member now as well. Having a good time in the chat said it's no different than when you buy a phone with regards to not being able to remove apps. Most phones have a lot of apps that come with the phone that cannot be removed. Yeah, it's the same exact thing. That's a great analogy. Let's see. Bloatware. Apps aren't necessarily bloatware. These days, what you're mostly getting are links to install the software. It's not like you're getting a full Norton or McAfee install, although sometimes you still do. For the most part, bloatware's gone. It's been gone for a number of years now. Probably the closest thing to bloatware that a modern PC will come with is Microsoft Teams and Microsoft OneDrive. Those are fairly substantial applications as far as resource consumption. But all those other little apps and stuff, they're just teeny tiny little nothings. It's like people that worry about how much space a cookie takes up. Cookies are inconsequential. You could have millions of them and they wouldn't take up more than a few kilobytes of storage. It's very, very, very tiny and insignificant to the operation of the computer. Again, people get their mind fixated on something and they've decided, I want this gone, I want this removed. And there are consequences if you force something. If you really don't like it, I would suggest you switch to a different operating system. You might be better off using a Linux or a Macintosh if that is your frame of mind. Because if you continue with that attitude on a Windows platform, it will likely come back to you in a way that you will have other problems that no one will be able to figure out, including yourself, that will only be affecting you because you have uniquely decided to alter your computer in a way most people have not, leaving you with unique problems potentially as a consequence of that in the indefinite future. So, and it's all over just an attitude. And the attitude is more easily adjusted than fixing the problems the attitude causes, in my experience. But it's your computer. Just letting you know, if you make that decision, what to expect. I can't tell you when to expect it, but expect it. There's a reason why you cannot remove those apps. And if you remove them, there's a good chance you're going to find out the hard way why they didn't want you to remove it. And then you'll know. So you can take that journey without me. All right, let's see. Just looking for other questions, comments here. And let me check back on how this little guy's doing. Should be able to, that should be downloaded. I can't see it unless I go full screen. Ah, yes, there's the install. And I'll hit install here. And we're off to the races. One thing I don't deal with on Intel systems is this nonsense. But again, it's my personal preference. And I absolutely have no respect for this. Like I'm glad that they've at least made it possible to make me aware without jumping through hoops that a new version is available. But the fact that I have to have this, I don't know. Now, I guess this is also covering our graphics driver here, which of course we would have to do with an NVIDIA card, but not so much with an Intel card, not unless it's one of the bigger, what's that family of cards called? Like the A750, A770. But for the most part, you know, you don't go through some massive, you want to talk about bloatware. I would call this bloatware all day long, but you've got to have it. This is massive. And the same goes with NVIDIA. Their 600 meg, 800 meg download for a video driver is ridiculous. It's just a lot of that's got to be bloatware in my mind. Something you just don't deal with on the Intel platform. So those are the logic, the reasonings that I have for the choices that I make. And you are free to have your own choices for your own reasons. Now, ARC. Thank you, AJ Haverkamp. Intel ARC. That was never going to come to me. I was so far from that. Thank you. Peter says he understands very well that AMD software is super annoying. But you got to have it because it can make a massive difference in the performance of your AMD hardware. CPU, GPU, all of it. These drivers are critical that you have the latest and greatest if you want the best security and performance. Now, and reliability too. Let's try one more time to get back in the BIOS here. I don't know what the key press is. Let me see if I can guess. Is it delete? Start any. See what happens. Delete, delete. Pressing delete a bunch of times, nothing's happening. Oh, here we go. So UEFI shell, BBS menu, boot options, boot setup. So I go to setup, go to advanced, and then it was under onboard device setting. We're supposed to see RGB down here. On the other screen, it showed the RGB option. We don't have it here. I'm going to have to email Minisforum and find out if I am doing something wrong or if there's a BIOS update that I'm missing. Because these machines, I don't think they're being shipped yet. So this may be a prototype that they sent me. Because this is where I thought it would be, right? This is when I was looking in the onboard devices. I thought, yeah, onboard devices is where I would have put it. That is where it shows it in that video. It's not here. And this is an early BIOS version. It shows it's version 1.0, I believe. Yeah. And that's from October 10th, which is fairly recent. However, they may have refined it. The RAM, I failed to mention, this is DDR5 RAM, and it's running at 5600 megahertz, so I'm glad that that's presented itself to us. And we can run Crystal Disk Mark. Let's see what kind of performance we get out of the storage and what kind of storage it is. So let's reset this. And let me find my flash drive with utilities right here. And then as soon as our desktop comes up, plug my flash drive in. And let's put VLC on here. VLC also had an update recently. If you haven't updated your VLC, I strongly recommend you do so at your earliest convenience. And let's Uncle Carey's Windows 10 optimizer. That out. And then under testing software, let's grab Crystal Disk Mark Portable and Crystal Disk Info. Oops. Beautiful. So as far as Crystal Disk Info, that'll give us the make and model of the solid state NVMe drive that's in there. It's a Kingston, and it's a 1 terabyte NVMe Kingston drive, Gen 4. We can see it's been powered on 18 times, and it's got 2 hours of time on it. Close that out. Let's run Crystal Disk Mark and see what kind of numbers we can get with high-end, high-performance NVMe Gen 4 drives up to about 7,500 megabytes per second on the high end. I typically expect 7,000. I consider that fast, but I also expect out of a system that a system integrator has created, they're probably going to go somewhere down the middle. I expect a minimum of 5,000 on the reads here. So if I see 5,000 or greater, I'm happy. We're close enough. That's fine. You're never going to get the same number twice. It's possible I could run this test a couple times, and through that, I eventually hit 5,000. However, you're not going to see any difference personally between 4795 and 5,000. That's not even a millisecond of difference of I/O. So we'll go ahead and let that run. And while that's running, let me bring up camera 1 again, and I will put myself in a corner so we can watch both me and those numbers. like so. And yeah, I'm going to reach out to Minisforum and ask them about a BIOS update. And if there is one, then I will film what that process is like, because I have no idea how you update a BIOS on one of these. I suspect you create a bootable flash drive, a UEFI bootable flash drive, which is incredibly simple by putting some files on the drive, basically boot files. You don't have, it's not like the old days where you had to format the drive. As long as the files are there, along with the BIOS file, and you boot from the flash drive, then should auto start the BIOS update. And then once you're all done, then you erase those files, because you never want to put the same BIOS on ever again. So unless you've got multiple machines to update, you're like most people, you only have the one. Once you've updated the BIOS, you no longer need it ever again for the history of your life. So not unless you buy another one. And that's assuming the other one needs the BIOS update. Or a new BIOS update comes out, in which case you would repeat the process, but never with the same. Once you've used it, you're done with it forever. Kind of curious what the writes are going to be on this. Again, I'd like to see something around the 4,000 range, but I'm afraid to set my hopes too high. Because anything around 3,600 or less is really Gen 3 speeds. So I expect something larger than that. We're close to 4,000. So we were close to 5,000 on the read and close to 4,000 on the sequential writes. So I'm okay with it. It's pretty much right down the line of what I was expecting. Walter says, Carey in chat, I lost my moderator and membership badges. I see your moderator status there, and I see your membership badge. Everything looks perfect. I don't know what you're talking about. He says, I've been a member for 11 months. The badge only goes to 6, and there is no 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11 badge. You can look through the chat. Nobody's got one because YouTube doesn't offer it. But there is a 12. Once you reach your 12th month of membership, you'll get a number 12 badge, and you will have that number 12 badge for 12 months, because there's no 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. There is a 24 and a 36. That's all YouTube allows for currently. I imagine when we get closer to probably sometime in the 2-year mark, then they'll offer a 48, maybe a 60. But they go annually at that point. So nothing to worry about. Everything is normal. It's working like it should. And thank you for being a member and for supporting the channel. Appreciate you. Michael Dane Jr. says, Michael is doing great and he is home. Michael Dane Sr. Right on. Well, thank you for that update. I'm delighted to hear that. If you enjoy the content, please give a thumbs up to the video. It costs you nothing. And it's a nice way to tell a content creator, make more content like this. On the other hand, if you don't like the content, a thumbs down is a great way to tell a content creator that you don't like content like that. And of course, the more votes one way or the other kind of helps guide a content creator to what kind of content their viewers want to see. Let me go full screen again. Let's go to my like and subscribe overlay. There it is. So if you click the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and be sure to turn the bell icon to turn notifications on so you'll be made aware anytime I post new content. There will be some sales coming up from VIP CDK deals where I acquire all my Windows and Office keys. And I recommend you do the same because the prices can't be beat and the product is guaranteed. A lot of other Windows license sellers out there are sketchy. They offer no support. I mean, if it works and you roll the dice and it comes up in your favor, you're good to go. But there's no dice rolling. There's no gambling with VIP CDK deals. Product keys are guaranteed to work. And if you have any problems, they have 24-hour support and they will help you. If you still haven't received satisfaction, I'll tell you what no other YouTube content creator that I'm aware of will offer you, which is to contact me directly. If you have any issues whatsoever with any of the products or services that I endorse, I stand behind them personally. These are all products and services that I use myself, and I just don't bring on these companies as a money grab. This is here if they offer my audience a valuable service or a valuable product at a very attractive price, and they stand behind it. If it doesn't meet those requirements, I do not take them on. So your odds of having any trouble with any of the companies that I endorse is extremely slim. And should it happen, their support 99.9% of the time are going to make it right. And in the ones that fall through the cracks, which happens maybe a couple times a year, reach out to me personally and I'll make it right. So there's absolutely no gambling with any product or service that I support. And that includes VIP CDK deals, RoboForm, Acronis, $300 data recovery. I'm missing one. There's always one I forget. All the links are in the video notes below the video. Now, when I showcase products like this, I'm reviewing them. I can't personally stand behind, some product that isn't even out yet. But I can tell you that Minisforum has been excellent to work with. If you buy any products that I showcase here on Amazon, Amazon has a 30-day return policy. It's my understanding Minisforum also has a return policy that's, I find Amazon's return policy just a lot easier because it's the same way for all the products. They don't do one thing for one company and another thing for another. And sometimes the companies will offer you a better price than Amazon because they got to pay Amazon a commission if the product is sold through there. But for me, I'm not a fan of gambling, and I don't mind paying a couple extra dollars knowing that I have a 30-day hassle-free return policy and I can return something to Amazon with no reasoning. I don't have to judge. I don't have to come up with an excuse. I can just want to return it. That's the excuse, and Amazon will approve it every time. So I also know I don't have to pay for the shipping back, at least if it's an Amazon Prime product. So those are things I look for because I don't like gambling. I'm not a fan of it. When I buy something, it means a lot to me when the company's going to stand behind it. If a company won't stand behind it, that's a warning. That's a big red flag for me. So coming up next week, there's going to be a big sale over at VIP CDK Deals. Look forward to that. I will have that information for you next week. Thank you again to the folks at Minisforum for sending us the unit as well as the keyboard. As always, it's quality stuff. It's well made, and it's a reputable company with a solid reputation. So I have no hesitation in recommending the units. I also think that if you were to try to build, well, not think, I know, if you tried to build a desktop workstation with these specifications, you'd be spending several $100s more. And, when you consider what you're getting for the money, you're getting the case, the power supply, the motherboard, the processor, the cooler, the storage, the RAM. In this case, you can buy it without the storage, RAM, and operating system to save a little bit of money if you were going to replace it anyway. You've got a Wi-Fi card. You've got a Bluetooth adapter. Well, that's all built in together. You've got the 2.5 gig Ethernet ports. You've got the sound card. all of that. You've got the stand, the RGB, the extra cooling fan. Trust me, that stuff adds up if you try to, it's like trying to piece together a car out of parts. If you went to a dealership and bought all the parts necessary to build a new car they're selling on the lot for $40,000, it'll cost you $230,000 to buy all the parts to put it together yourself. Now, in this case, the price difference isn't that extreme. And if you're a really heavy gamer, and that's like a high priority for you, the Oculink is a very unique offering I've never seen offered by any other mini PC manufacturer ever. Now, you will spend more for the Oculink and the graphics card likely than you will for anything else. More for that than your monitor, your keyboard, your mouse, your computer, all combined probably wouldn't add up to that. That's why I'm not a big fan of gaming. It's become profoundly expensive. And on top of that, to have the graphics card external and to have to run the cables, I would rather have it all on a desktop, me personally. If I wanted something more portable on the go, you know, you will pay out the wazoo if you want an external GPU, at least if you want a good one. But at least it won't be bottlenecked as badly as just running it through, you know, a USB 4 port or a USB 3 port. So in any event, it's food for thought for those of you that are into gaming. And before I would even make that investment, I would evaluate how this plays the games you play at the settings you like. Because it's unlikely any content creator that's showing gameplay in frames per second is playing the game you're interested in or playing it at the settings you want to play it in. It's things like that where you really have to get it in your own hands and experience it for yourself to see if it lives up to your expectations. Not mine, not somebody else's, yours. And if you buy it from a place where you know there's no hassle to return it within 30 days, you've got no risk. So you put your games on it, you set them the way you want to set them. If you don't find it acceptable and you don't want to make the investment into the external GPU, return it. And then come back and let us know in the comment section under this video about your experience. Was it a good experience? Was it a bad experience? If so, why? That will help other viewers who, once again, probably aren't playing the same games you're playing. And if they are probably not playing with the same settings, but it can all help to have that information of setting expectations. To know if something is likely not going to live up to your expectations or will exceed them. So, you know, as a community here, it's not just about what I think. And, you know, to spend money to do work isn't something that I consider to be fun. I'd much rather play the games I play, which is solving the customer's problem. It's a different game all the time, and I get paid to play it. It's a way better scenario in my book. So I guess that'll wrap it up for me for today. Let me just check the phone one last time here, see if we've missed any messages. We've just crossed over 3 p.m. here in Phoenix, so that's just put us over 2 hours of today's broadcast. And it looks like a couple of gift cards have come in. Oystein with a $100 Amazon gift card. Thank you so much, Oystein. Oystein, of course, watching us from Norway. Raj D sends a $25 Amazon gift card. And thank you again to Alan Lindos and to our friend Buster and to Mark Gaines and Paul O'Brien for their contributions supporting the channel. Also, a shout out and a thank you once again for all those super chats that came in during today's live show. Just go back and find them. Silly me, I did not have this already set up. Planet Cryos just contributed $2 in super chat. Be sure and check out Planet Cryos' YouTube channel. He's got some great content there. I'm not just saying it. Check it out yourself. So thank you again to Paul O'Brien, Chris's Retro Tech channel for your super chat contributions, as well as Planet Cryos and Nick Caffrey and Chris's Retro Tech channel, Mark Gaines and Peter BZ. And thank you for those renewing or starting your memberships here. That includes Davis Parsons and Matthew Burton, who have renewed their memberships, and Garfield Rupe as well, and the aforementioned Raj D. You guys rock. Thank you so, so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that you guys have a great weekend. Know that the chaos is coming. Enjoy the calm before the storm, as the holiday season is about to begin. This time next week, you have 7 days of calmness. Or in my case, preparing for the family meetup over Thanksgiving. Actually, everybody in the family. It's all just a long-running joke. So thank you again for watching. I will see you all again. Well, I will see my members on Monday. I will have the regular members-only Monday video this Monday at 1 o'clock Arizona time. That's currently 12 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern time. It's 1 p.m. Phoenix time. 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. And then, again, I don't know Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday schedule. I expect I will be back on Friday to tell you about all the deals. At least the deals I'm made aware of. And if you guys find any deals, be sure you let us know so we can give other people an opportunity to save some money on stuff they might be drooling over wanting. And hopefully between all of us, we can find all the deals. It's never going to happen. And thank you for all the Amazon gift cards, because I've been hoarding them specifically for next Friday and next Monday, because Cyber Monday, sometimes there's better deals on Cyber Monday online than there are on Black Friday. However, there are deals going on right now that I talked about at the beginning of the show. And again, those links are all in the video notes below this video. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to Mara for the amazing thumbnail and setting up today's video for me. Thanks again to the folks at Minisforum, and thank all of you for being a part of this amazing community. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have a safe, happy weekend, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Until next time, bye for now. Now I got to find an outro, which I did not line up before I did that amazingly great exit. So close. Here we go. Bye for now.